Hello my friends, long time no talk. Jan of Jan Hicks Creates here, sitting out on the patio at my father-in-law's house, where today it's actually a little windy. This area isn't usually a high wind place, but of course today when I want to do a video, it's windy. So my hair's gonna blow around, but hopefully I won't lose anything. And I'm not doing it inside because there's just no place where the light's good, and we have boxes and bags, and we emptied out the trailer for Mike to make repairs and to clean it, and there's just any place I would sit and do a video, it's just a cluttered mess. So anyway, here I am. We have about 5 days left here in Phoenix. We did extend our stay here a little bit because of doctor's appointments mostly. There's a couple things I need to have checked, and whenever you're a new patient, you don't necessarily get first priority. So anyway, we are here for 5 or 6 more days. 5, I don't know. And getting stuff done. It's been an insane 3 weeks now. And I've been planning to do this video the whole time, but I just haven't had a chance. Between doctor's appointments, getting new releases out, I have a whole list of things. Kitting up my next designs while I'm here with my stash, planning on what I'm going to be designing, and after that, getting ready for the cruise. So that was kitting up the kits for the design I'm releasing there, working on my class for that, figuring out, oh goodness, how we're getting to the port and what I'm taking where and where I'm mailing my kits to, and even like, what am I going to wear? I had to get into storage to find some clothes that would be appropriate for a cruise. Oh, look, a bathing suit. I guess I should take a bathing suit. I have to remember to ask Mike if he has his bathing suit. Goodness, stitching on my next releases, prepping for market. Market is going to be here, Nashville, in March before we know it. So that is in the back of my mind. Where we are going next, where we are stopping, who we are seeing. And then, you know, I kind of just realized this morning, we're 2 weeks out from Christmas. I guess I should ask my boys what they want for Christmas. The older one's taken care of. He wanted a nice coat for when he moved from Seattle back to Maryland. He needed a warmer coat, so we gave him the money for that, and that was his Christmas present. But yeah, this is not a restful time here. You are shaking a little bit. I don't know whether you'll notice that. Hopefully the stabilizers in the phone will take care of that, but the wind is shaking you a little bit, so I apologize for that. Other videos. I do have, as many of you know, if you follow me on any social media other than YouTube, or in addition to YouTube, I did stop at the Stitcher's Garden in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Wonderful, wonderful store. Such a nice owner. We had a great chat. And I do have the clips put together for that. I just need to find time to sit down and do the voiceover for that. So hopefully, like I said, we're getting to the end of our preps for getting on the road. So I'm hoping that before long I will be able to get that done and get that out. I know I haven't done any postcards yet. I still have a bunch of postcards from the last circle that we did. So I will be starting to post those again, probably once we get out on the road. So remember, where I am currently does not mean that's where the postcard is. It's sometime in the past. So, lots going on here. If you follow me on social media, you will have seen that Cottage Garden Threads did a wonderful blog post on me. We have had a great partnership since I started working with their threads back when I designed Palace of the Winds. And they highlight different designers who use their products on their blog, and this was my turn. That blog post went up on the 7th. So just a few days ago. They are having a sale on whatever threads that I've used in my designs. So you might want to, if you go to their blog post, and I will put a link below. I actually need to make a note of this so I don't forget. You will see links to the threads that I've used that they do have on sale, and I also have a sale going on in my Etsy shop on the designs that I've used their threads, in which I've used their threads for all the grammar police out there. Like I said, I will link to that blog post below and you can check that out. I have to say, it is a really nice write-up. They interviewed me. We did a phone call while we were in Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. So it was gorgeous fall colors. It was just a beautiful time, and I really enjoyed that conversation. So yeah, I hope you will check that out if you haven't already. Excuse me. Next on the agenda, before I get into showing you my stuff, I will, as I did with the last loop, I will be posting a kind of travel map of our trip across the country to Florida. And I will be marking and noting all the different stores that I will be stopping at, that I hope you will come out and visit me at. I am going to get in touch with the owners. I didn't do a very good job of that this last time, so I'm going to try and do better from here on out, to get in touch with the owners to let them know what dates I'm going to be there, and to try and arrange, if they are interested, a formal meet and greet, so that they can take advantage. I don't know that all of these stores, I know a few of them do carry my patterns, but anyways, I hope that it will be advantageous for all of us, and I want to make sure that the stores are aware of that. So just off the top of my head, again, heading over from Phoenix to Florida, we will be spending about a week in the San Antonio area. I will be going to the Tinsmith's Wife. I can't wait to go back there. I love that store. I first visited it in, I think, 2013, when they just had yarn, and maybe they had needlepoint at that time too. They didn't carry cross stitch at that time, but I went for the yarn. So the Tinsmith's Wife Golden Needle, which is now in New Braunfels, and I need to talk to Leslie, but I hope to get to Under the Sea Fabrics in San Antonio itself. So that's that stop. We'll then be heading over to Galveston Island. I don't know that I will make it. I don't remember how many days we have over there, but I don't think I'll be making it to the shop outside of Houston. I have to look at that a little bit more closely. We will be stopping in Gulf Shores, Alabama, where I will be visiting Creative Needle Arts. From there, the next place will be in Sarasota for a few days, but I don't know that there's any stores right close there. But that's more about visiting friends that I have there from when we used to live there. And then that's when we head over after that to Fort Lauderdale for the cruise. I will be going to the cross stitch cupboard. Hi Karen, I can't wait to meet you. And all of you who are cruising with us, I cannot wait. I'm so excited about the cruise. This is the Floss Tube at Sea cruise, for those of you who may not have heard of it. It is heading out January 14th. This is our first one. The hosts are myself, Jean Farish, and Michelle Garrett. So yeah, we are actually having kind of a little get together throughout the day before the cruise sails at the cross stitch cupboard, but that's with the cruise attendees. After that, after we get back from the cruise, we'll be heading up the East Coast, spending some time in Canaveral, because space stuff, and my husband's a space geek and a sci-fi writer, and all that stuff is just so cool. So we'll be stopping on the Space Coast, then we'll be heading to the Palm Coast, where I will be stopping at the Inspired Needle to visit Kathy's new store. We'll be spending some time in St. Augustine. I adore St. Augustine. And then we'll be heading further up the East Coast. I plan on stopping, and I don't have exact dates for the stuff after Fort Lauderdale, but we'll be stopping at Barefoot Needle Arts. I will be going over to Irmo, South Carolina. I got an email from the owner, Rebecca, of the Stitch and Kitten, inviting me to stop there. So I will be stopping there, and then we'll be heading up north to North Carolina, again to visit Sassy Jack's, where she will be open at that point. And I plan on doing a video. I didn't do a video of our visit there when I went there with Jean Farish. But I plan on doing a video once I'm there in February, and kind of a before and after, because I think you'll be really fascinated to hear Kim's plans for the different spaces and then actually see them completed. I cannot wait. After that, Johnson City, Tennessee, to Country or Cross Stitch and Crafts. That is a meet and greet there. I was invited by the owner there, so I can't wait to do that. And that will probably be the week before market. So I'm hoping it will work out that I will have my market releases available for those who want to come and see them. You won't be able to buy anything at that point. They won't be available for sale until Nashville, until the market itself. But you can get a sneak peek at them in person. And then we'll be going over to Nashville for market. After that, we have about a month before we will be in the Dallas area for the eclipse, the total eclipse. I will be visiting the Stitch Niche in Arlington, Texas with my friend Maria, and then we will be heading back to Phoenix. So, yeah, that's in a nutshell what our next, 6 months looks like, 5 months. All right, so anyways, I will be posting details on my my 2 Facebook pages, my Facebook page and my Facebook group, and then on Instagram with that layout kind of to Fort Lauderdale. Oh, probably also including this inspired needle. And then I'll be getting in touch with the store owners. So hopefully some of you will come out and meet me in these different places. Okay, enough talking, time for stitching. So, new releases. Let me show you these first. I put out at the very beginning of December, very end of November, a few new releases. And we have, finally, X, Y, and Z. So, I did use Xmas for the X because, I mean, what else am I going to use for X? It's almost impossible to come up with a good word. Y is Yule. Z is Zest. Many friends, thanks to my friend Maria for finishing these for me. She is now my soft finisher extraordinaire. So from here on out, anytime I show you a soft finish, it's by Maria. She is so good. So yeah, this concludes the Vintage Christmas Ornament Alphabet, and I'm glad to have it done. Ready to put that behind me, except I do plan on doing some kind of booklet, probably with all of these, and then maybe a sampler or two, or smaller designs spun off of everything I created here. So we shall see. That's out in the future, a couple years. XYZ, Florographica 2, Iris. Sure, holding it the right way. So this is the second in my Florographica 2 series. And this is one of the designs that uses the cottage garden threads. And the cottage garden threads are used in the flower itself and then in the colors other than the gold on the border. This one, however, is not included in the sale with the cottage garden thread blog post because it's not on my Etsy shop yet. It won't go into my Etsy shop until towards the end of December. But hydrangea, I wanted to show these together. Again, make sure I am holding them correctly the way they're supposed to go. Hydrangea is available in my Etsy shop. So, as I've mentioned before, my intention for this design is to stitch them all together on one piece of fabric. And I am doing them separately just because it's easier to show, it's easier to stitch, it's easier in every way for me to do it on 4 different pieces of fabric, but I do have the overall stitch count in the patterns. I have the border, this outline, which is going around all 4. You can see the border at the corner, all 4 patterns. I do have that available as a free download on my website, janhickscreates.com, on the freebies page, I believe it is. So it is available for you to start stitching and have it set up, and then you can fill in the flowers. Let's see. So the next one, the next flower is coming out at market, and it will be situated down here. It is tulips. No, it is not. It is something called the African daisy, and it is another very colorful, interesting colored flower. So yeah, Florographica 2 parts are done, 2 to come. I do know people that are just stitching 1 or 2 of these, or just have a friend or family member who loves a certain flower and they're doing that one. So that is cool too. Okay, and then last but not least for my new releases is the Colors of Mexico. So this was an antique sampler, or is an antique sampler. It's an adaptation of an antique sampler. And unfortunately, I could not put my hands on that antique sampler. So it's in a box somewhere. But anyway, I did do a video more in depth of this before I framed it, so I could show it more up close to you than what I can when it's in a frame. So I am going to insert that video here. Hello, my friends. I am sitting here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and I wanted to do a video close-up of my new sampler, Colors of Mexico. There are no identifying features on this. This is an antique sampler. I got it from a person who lives in Florida who said that this had been hanging in her grandmother's house for as long as she can remember. She remembers seeing it there, but she has no information on the background, the provenance, where it came from, and there is no names or dates on this sampler at all. But I wanted to do a video before I get it framed, before I frame it, I'll be framing it myself, to talk about and show you up close the different motifs. I did stitch this on 40 count Saltbush by Fox and Rabbit, and it is stitched using Vicki Clayton's silks. They're hand-dyed fibers is the name of her company. It is a mixture of the variegated floss and the variegated silks and her solid silks. She did not have variegated for all of the colors that I needed at the point that I started this. Let's see. Like I said, it is an antique sampler, but since there is no identifying features, I am calling this the Colors of Mexico because the Colors of Mexico are bright and cheerful and fun, and it just seemed like a good name. Naming things is the hardest part for me. Naming patterns is the hardest part. I chose the colors both for the back and the front. It's kind of a mixture of the colors on the back and the front. There was a lot of fading in the front, so the blues here kind of looked white. The darker blues looked like a light blue. The pinks were kind of faded to a cream. But yet some of the colors on the back of the original were, dare I say it, so garish that even I couldn't use them. So I unfortunately can't find the antique. I believe it's in the storage unit, not in the box with all of my other antiques, because I wanted to have that to show you in this video, but I don't have it at hand, so here we are. I found this piece really, really fun to stitch. all the different borders meant that it never got boring. Or if I did get bored with like, oh, these flowers are huge, I could just skip to something else and work on something else for a little bit and fill in those flowers here and there when I needed to. It is a bigger sampler. It is 291 stitches by 300, so almost a square, but not quite. But so many fun borders and fun little animals. Look at that. What do you think? I keep going back and forth trying to decide whether that is a sheep or a dog. I want to say it's a sheep because I love sheep, but I don't know. We have birds. We have monkeys. Look at the monkeys. Aren't they cute, wearing little pink hats? We have a mermaid holding some birds. More birds there. We have this fun little fountain with birds on it. We have lions there, upside down with a crown or something. And this is another one of those pieces. Oh, and look, there's some kind of little rabbits or little dogs there too. This is another one of those pieces that the motifs are turned in all kinds of different directions. Excuse me. So that's always fun. So yeah, I found that stitching the different motifs was, the different borders was really, really fun. And we have squirrels. I forgot the squirrels. This does have, oh, and I think there's something else here. Wait a second. Bunnies. Bunnies or deer. Little purple deer, I think. We do have a touch of Bargello in this design, which is common in a lot of Mexican and Spanish samplers. And I know a lot of you may be intimidated at the thought of Bargello. There's Bargello, and then there's some satin stitch there at the top. And the stripe of Bargello over here. I know many of you may be intimidated at the thought of this. I do have a video. Surprise, surprise, I do have a video of how to work Bargello. I made it whenever I was stitching on my Sewing Box Sampler 1. There is a whole long border of Bargello in that sampler, which is absolutely stunning. I love Bargello. And so I do have a video that I will link below, a tutorial on how to work Bargello. It is not hard. Not hard at all. For this, though, of course, this is a little bit different than the one in the Sewing Box Sampler because it's a different stitch count, basically. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what we have here. The original sampler was stitched in wool on a linen ground. Actually, it was either a linen or a cotton ground. But it's one of those that has a bigger weave to it. But because it is stitched with the wool covers more area than a strand of silk is going to. So what I found I had to do is use 2 strands to cover the same space as the 1 strand of wool. So you'll see each one of these, quote, stitches in the Bargello is 2, and it's not 2 held together. It's actually, let me see if I can zoom in a bit here and where it won't get fuzzy on me. Okay. So you can see, it's a little fuzzy, there we go. There's in this line, and this will need to be done on linen. You cannot work this on Aida. You have a stitch in this line over 4 of linen, and then the next line of linen, you have another stitch. So that makes up, that covers the same area as the 1 piece of yarn, 1 strand of yarn of the wool that they used in the original. So you will see that's how all this Bargello is worked. In Bargello, you always, well, I always, and I think it's true for most people, when you work a Bargello pattern, you work 1 row first that becomes kind of your your grounding row. And that's where you build the entire pattern off of. For me, I use the purple one. The purple was the first row that didn't have these compensating stitches, which are the half stitches here that you see, the little white ones or the little red ones. And it's the one that goes the whole way, the first one that goes the whole way across that band. I'm going to zoom out a little bit again so it isn't quite so in your face. So I started with the purple and then built off of that. So the main thing about Bargello is that the first row, your grounding row, you pay really, really close attention to getting it in properly. This one is over 4, each stitch is over 4 linen threads, and then it is a 2-step up for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back down, up and down and up and down and up and down to cover the area. And then you just fill in the rest of the colors based on that first grounding row. Above the Bargello, we have a kind of a checkerboard look of satin stitch. And again, using two of the stitches equals 1 of the original wool. And then another little line of Bargello over here. I kind of had to chuckle at this one, at this section, because over here, I'm trying to get this held so you can see it, but it's not in your face. Over here, you can see where it, the bottom line is nice and straight, and she used these compensating stitches to match up with basically where the purple one comes down, where the bottom of that is. Over when she started this one, she's like, yeah, no, I don't feel like doing those half stitches over here. I'm just going to make this a full stitch. So this comes down 2 linen threads below where the bottom line of that one is. They do things the way they want them. One of the things that I find when charting these antique samplers, and again, I have no information on how old this girl was, anything like that, but whenever they're putting motifs in like this that's some distance away from what's around it, they don't count. They just move over a little bit and they start stitching. So more often than not, anytime, oh look, a cat here, how surprising. Anytime they started working on a new motif that was some distance away, it was always like, 3.5 stitches, 2.5 stitches, 5.5 stitches. It was never exact. So, and also this one not as much maybe as some other ones. They would go over one periodically, like if they needed to fit something in the way the design worked and they were a little off of where it was supposed to be, they would just make a stitch over, over 2 in one direction and over 1 the other way. So, they would just make it fit. But I charted it so that it was all lined up evenly because that drives me crazy, quite frankly. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? My favorite motifs. I love the way this gold works with the white. I think that's so pretty. Of course, this light blue is one of my favorite colors. I love the look of the gold with this kind of brownish rose brown. Oh, goodness, all kinds of cat hair on it. What a surprise. Yeah, I think for me it's mostly this one, the grapes with the gold and the green. There's just so much about this that I love. And I hope you love it too. There have been people talking, the sneak peeks that I've been giving, especially on the Hand Dyed Fibers Facebook group. If you are not a member of that and you love Vicky's Silks, I highly recommend that you join that Facebook group. But there have been people talking about doing a stitch along. And so I think what I'm going to do is kind of break it up into 12 sections to do it over the course of a year. This does not, it's big. It's big. There's 29,000 stitches, over 29,000 stitches, so it's not like it's small and easy to do. But because you do work little motifs at a time, it feels like it goes pretty quick. At least I felt like it did, even though I've been stitching on it for, you know, quite a while. In between everything else, of course. But anyway, I plan on kind of providing on social media a breakdown of how to stitch this over the course of 12 months. So, you know, a little bit every month. And I'm probably going to start in the center, which I think was right around here, and break it out from there. And the reason I want to do that, number one, I know not everybody is comfortable from starting on the edge. And I actually started this one in the center as well, just to make sure it was placed evenly on the fabric. But also, I found that as I was stitching, as I started to build out and started to grow, and I would stitch here and I would stitch there, and, you know, adding different colors to see how different colors looked. I have a tendency to jump all over the place when I'm starting a new piece like this. But what I found is when I had a foundation started to be laid in different areas, then I could, for example, if I'm stitching with, say I'm stitching this little motif in white, and I have some lines down here that I've placed, and there's more white down here, then if I still have some white in the needle, I can jump down here and add that in. Or I could jump over here or over here and do the white here. So I'm going to give you a foundation, I think, to start with for your stitch along. Kind of a guideline. And then you can grow out from it. Not necessarily sticking to the way I have it broken down for the stitch along, but general idea of how to go. So I think that is all I wanted to say. Oh, look, another cat hair. I have not run a lint roller over this yet. That will happen once I get it in the frame. So I hope to have this released. Well, you won't see this video until I have it released, so never mind. But anyways, I think that is all I wanted to say about this beauty. I hope you love it as much as I do. As always, there is also going to be a DMC conversion. As I said, it is 291 by 300 stitches, stitched on 40 count. That gives me about a 15 by 15 and a half inch finish. So yeah, pretty cool. One of the things I forgot to say in the video that you just watched is that, at least if I remember correctly, I forgot to say it, is that one of the things you will find another chart piece in the pattern where I have charted out more cross stitch to replace the Bargello for those of you, either those of you who are stitching on Aida, because you will not be able to stitch this on Aida, or if you just don't like Bargello. And what I've done is just taken this border and extended it over here. And then for this space here, I think I brought this border up here down and put it along the bottom here. So again, you will find an alternative to Bargello in the pattern if you do not like stitching Bargello. Although I hope you will give it a try. Bargello, if you're stitching on an even weave, Bargello is a gorgeous stitch that once you get that base row in is really quite easy. So that is Colors of Mexico. All of these designs are available from Hoffman, the distributors, Yarn Tree, and ICG right now. So if you are interested in any of these, get in touch with your local store and they can order them either from the distributor or from me directly. I'm trying to put that down there so it won't fall. Okay. Other things. Hold, please. Other designs that have come out. Winter issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. Had my next in my Sunshine series. This is Winter Sunshine. And while you won't find any sunshine necessarily in this piece, sunshine as we traditionally think of it, I wanted this to have a cold, wintry, windy, snowy kind of feel. Because quite frankly, in all the places that I've lived that had winter, there wasn't often a lot of sunshine. It was more gray days. But I wanted it to have that kind of wintry, windy feel. So that is that. This is stitched on, oh goodness, I'm going to test my memory here. Haven't the faintest idea. It's a Barefoot Needle Arts, I believe. Sorry, can't remember. It is stitched using over-dyed flosses. You can get the magazine now in pretty much any retail or any retail cross stitch store is going to carry the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. You can get the digital copy online. I actually subscribe to the digital copy so that it's always sitting there waiting for me. I don't have a pile of magazines taking up space, and I can actually download any of the patterns that I want and stitch them. And I thought I would show it together with my fall sunshine. So that is those two. The other design that I have had come out recently in an alternative area is Winter Wonderland. This was the part of the subscription of in the Nice Box from the Black Needle Society. People have started to open their packages from this Nice Box, and this is starting to appear this past week on social media, so I thought it would be okay to show it here. This again is another finish by my friend Maria, and this is actually why I wanted to show this. This is, and I don't have a pair of scissors here with me, but this is a little pocket. She made this kind of into a little scissor holder finish. It is an outstanding, just a beautiful, beautiful finish. I love it. So she did an amazing job matching up the fabric pattern here, so you can't really tell that there's a pocket unless you know it's there, and then you can stick your scissors down in there. She actually has a tutorial for this on her website, so I will again put the link for that below so that you can take a look at that if you want to recreate this for yourself in, with anything that you might be making. But this is just so beautiful. So this is, again, I can't remember what I stitched it on. It's a color and cotton fabric, and it's over dyed flosses. And again, this is in the Nice Box. I will not be releasing this myself until next December. But I wanted to give you a look at that because of the finish that Maria did. That is so awesome. I am working on the next bird, the next in my Bird of Colors series. That is what these flosses are. With this fabric, this is another Mason linen fabric, and if I remember correctly, it is chatelaine dark. And if you can get your hand on any Mason linen, I highly, highly recommend it. Their linen is gorgeous. So that, I hope to have that done and ready to come out in January as well. So I need to get stitching on that. I have another one that I finished stitching last night that will be coming out in January. One of the ones that I've had in the works for a while that you've seen many different times. Move some things around here. Is my big antique German sampler. And I had started stitching on this. I am working this on a lap stand. You do not often see me work on any type of frame or hoop, but this one is so big, I don't know whether you can see the fabric wrapped around that bottom scroll rod, but the fabric is 48 inches long, and I was not going to try and hold all that, manage all that in my lap. It just made more sense to me to have it on the scroll frame, so I got out my lap stand. This is a Hope lap stand, and unfortunately these are no longer being made, but this is my frame of choice, and it will be going with me in the trailer, and I think it's going to work pretty well. The hardest part is, where do I put it when I'm done stitching for the evening, that the cat won't get into it and get fur all over it, but you know, it's one of the many things that we have to figure out. I do have a little light clamped on here. Again, working like this, and this is a 46 count fabric. This is 46 count antique button, medium light, or medium, I think, medium dark maybe, by, again, Mason Linen. Because it is 46 count, I felt I'm going to need, I don't usually need extra light when I'm stitching in the trailer, even on 40 count, but I thought since this is 46 count, I want to make sure that I have good enough light. So I got this little light that clamps on quite nicely onto my rods there. So I had started stitching this with 100.3 silks, the Avera Soie 100.3. And I don't know whether you can tell, I got a good chunk of the first motif done up here. I don't know whether you can see the bigger holes that I ripped the floss out of. I don't like it. I know a lot of you swear by it. There's something, it has a more rounded structure, the way the strands are twisted, or the plies are twisted. It has a more rounded structure, and I did not like the way it laid. Something about the way I stitched caused it to twist more and knot more, and it just did not have a nice, the stitches did not have a nice even look to them in my eyes. I know many of you love it, but it's not for me. I actually tore out, I had about 560 stitches done. I tore it out. I ordered the equivalents from Vicki Clayton, the hand-dyed fibers, her silks, and got those to stitch this with. I forgot to bring out my little box of wonderfulness. So this is most of the threads, most of the palette. It looks like a lot, but a lot of them have 2 spools of each color. I asked Vicki to send me 2 of them. Actually, this first color, the peach, that is one of the predominant colors in the palette. So she sent me 3 of those. So it's not actually this many spools. I just have 2 of most of them and 3 of the one. But this is the palette. There are at least 1 color missing that I'm sure of. There might be more. Of course, I don't have this all charted yet, so there may be other colors missing as well. But yeah, isn't that gorgeous? So, so I will have the first part ready to come out at market, and I'm actually thinking I will just have it showing on the scroll rod sitting at my table at market in my room, because I will just continue to work on this piece when I have it finished. Again, fabric is 48 inches long. I don't think I'm going to frame this one. I think what I'm going to do is hem stitch it so that it will be easier to send for trunk shows around the country, and just easier and cheaper to deal with overall. So that is my tentative plan at this point. Other things I'm working on. As I look down the road, I start to think about, okay, what do I want to do? You know, I have all these things ready to start stitching. I have all these things planning to come out at certain dates through the year. And then I'm also starting to think what comes next. And I'm still not working as far ahead as I would like, but I'll get there. For those who've been around for a while, you may remember this gem of a purchase. I found this I think I actually got it off of Facebook Marketplace, but it was from somebody local when we were in San Antonio. So it is a little compact that has petty point on it, and it's completely stitched. It's like a small needlework canvas. I don't know whether I don't want to get too close because I know it blurs out. So there's that. Like I said, it is a compact, so it has a little mirror, a little, you know, compact piece. It's never been used. But what I also found fascinating is inside, where you would normally have a pressed powder, it has this piece of what is silk gauze. And I'm actually thinking I might use this to stitch something on. Just a thought. We'll see. But anyways, I have plans to start charting this, charting the flowers, and doing something else with this around just the flowers. And I pulled colors for it. And this is what I came up with. Again, Thicky Silks. And the reason there's so many for this tiny little piece is that each one of these flowers, if you look closely at each one of these flowers, except for these two white ones in the middle, they are each 4 shades of a color range. So this is 4 shades of orange. This is 4 shades of pink. 4 shades of like a corally orange. This one is kind of the same pinks as this one over here. We have 4 shades of blue. Even in these leaves here, these kind of grayish blue leaves, there are 4 shades. So by the time I got done, 4 shades in the greenish leaves, 4 shades in the gold border. By the time I got done, I ended up with this huge pile. As with all of my designs, I also provide a DMC conversion, and this one I'll probably have a conversion to overdyed cotton flosses as well. But anyways, I can't wait to start charting that and see what I come up with. Okay. I think that is about all except for a major purchase. Well, actually, one other thing. A major purchase I wanted, well, 2 purchases, I guess. The only one's major, though. One thing that I have found is that my planner helps keep me sane. So this is my 2024 planner. I used a Happy Planner with those plastic discs the last time and found that they took up so much room. And as you all know, room in the little trailer is at a premium. So this is an Erin Condren flat soft cover planner that I will be using this coming year. I got this really pretty bookmark. I thought that was too pretty to pass up. And I have started to sticker the pages because that makes me happy. So I have, I think, up till March stickered. In January, I'm just going to show you January because it makes me happy. This is the week of the cruise, so I have all the tropical flowers. Isn't that fun? I think in February I went to graze more tropical flowers for the rest of the time we're in Florida. So in February, I think I just went to kind of graze. Yeah, February. Because this has been my experience with winter. That's pretty though. Because February is also the month of Valentine's Day. So, anyways, getting these done. I said I was only going to show you January, and then I continued to turn pages. I know. What can I say? All right, but the big purchase I want to share with you. And this just came the other day. And I didn't know what I got, but now I do. This is a sampler that is stitched on a tea towel. And I loved it because it's colorful, it's bright, it's different than your traditional samplers. And of course it spoke to me. It's a show towel. but it's a special show towel. And first thanks go to Jeanette Douglas for informing me of what I had here. This is called a Hutterite sampler, Hutterite. And the Hutterites were a group of, if I can remember the history well, and don't quote me because it's a couple days ago that I read this and I might not have all the details absolutely correct. They were a group of people in the Eastern European area, the Greco-Austro-Hungarian Empire area, I believe, in the areas of Hungary and Romania, who were not Roman Catholics. They were Anabaptists and other of the not Roman Catholic. They were outsiders, and they kept communities pretty much to themselves. When they became too victimized because of that religious difference, they would move to different areas. And from Hungary, I believe they moved to Russia. They were in Russia for a while. I believe it was in the 1700s. At a certain point, they immigrated to the U.S. and came to, well, they immigrated to the New World. They came to South Dakota and also up into Canada. And there were communities there that I believe they might have arrived in South Dakota, immigrated to Canada, and then came back down into South Dakota. I believe I read somewhere that the Amana colony is in Iowa, might be a Hutterite colony, but I don't think I followed up on that thread to find out for sure. They are German colonies. And so this is, you'll see the information about the stitcher, Sarah Hofer. Geboren in Jahr 1931, den 14 February. So she was a Valentine's Day, what we know as Valentine's Day today, baby. What else can I tell you? There's not a lot known about this type of sampler. Their main handiwork was more in making quilts, and these were considered more frivolous because a blanket, a quilt, of course, is needed, and this isn't something that's, practical and needed. So they used leftovers. They stitched on whatever piece of cloth they might be able to find, often on toweling like this, and they used leftover threads from their quilting, and they used what they had. So part of the charm for me of the colors, is how there's different colors and different letters. So look at this K here. What, 1, 2, 3 colors in that, and the L has 3 colors. And then you'll get to a point where, so here we have, okay, L has a couple colors, M she changes, N she starts with orange, and then she changes to the red, and she's like, oh, I have enough of the red, I'm gonna keep going. And you'll find that several times. She'll start with a color and keep going for a few letters, and then change to a different one. Mike looked at that and said, at this and said, oh boy, that's busy. I'm like, yeah. Many, many different alphabets. They were known, the Hutterites in Europe were known as scribes to wealthy landowners. So they taught their children about the alphabet and how to write, and they used different letterings, and so they passed that on to not just their boy children, but to their girl children too. And this became kind of a way to keep track of all that different type of lettering. So you have the uppercase, and then you also have some lowercase, and of course the letters in all different sizes. You start with some lowercase, and you have all kinds of numbers, different styles. So this is, and then the motifs, the information about the stitcher. So she was born in 1931. 1947 is probably when she stitched it, so that she was 17 years old. And then some of the traditional motifs that you will find in these samplers. The flower with all the different colors. Again, she used what she had, so she changed colors when she needed to. And that just, just thrills me. Yeah. Will I be reproducing this? Yes, I will. When will I be reproducing this? I don't know. I think the toweling is probably close to a 28 count, but I have not counted out the threads to say for sure. But yeah, my latest sampler acquisition. Now, it will be staying here with my other samplers in the acid-free box with acid-free tissue around it, waiting for me to get to it. So, I think that is all for today. Like I said, please check out my blog post. If you are interested in Maria's finish of the pillow with the scissor holder, I will have that linked below. If you follow me on other social media, you will find my trip information that I'll be putting out there. So lots going on. I will be heading down to the attic hopefully one day this week. They do have one of my market releases there for framing. It should be done before we leave. I talked to Sandy. She's hoping to have it done so I can get down there and pick it up. Yeah, and we hit the road on Thursday, so today is Saturday. So we'll be hitting the road again on Thursday. I'm ready to get it back out on the road. I'm ready to get back into our home and get back out on the road and start seeing you guys again. So again, so sorry for the delay in videos. I've got to get better. I've got to get more into a routine with these. I have so many ideas. I hope to do more more stitch with me type of videos. Yeah, so we'll get there. We're figuring it out. Made some changes, have some other ideas of how to handle things. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for visiting with me. I hope you are taking care of yourselves. All of my friends who celebrate Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. My friends who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. My friends who celebrate Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa. I'm sure there's other various holidays out there that I am not thinking about right now. So happy holidays to all of you. I love you guys. You guys take care of yourselves. I will talk to you soon.